Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
The summer travel season begins this Memorial Day weekend, and San Diego County is poised to have one of the best ever. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. In fact, the post-COVID travel and leisure industry here is already recovering more strongly than either Los Angeles or the Bay Area. KPBS reporter John Carroll has more.
Let's start with a critical piece of the travel business here, San Diego International Airport. Airport Authority CEO Kimberly Becker says they're already seeing a 12% increase in passenger volumes compared to last year. She says those numbers will only grow after this weekend. Big picture, this travel season looks to be the busiest since 2019. San Diego Tourism Authority President and CEO Julie Coker says we were already rebounding strongly. We had a great 2022. San Diego's tourism rebound is especially impressive when you look at it against the backdrop of the terrible toll that COVID took. Julie Coker says we lost 20 years of gains in the tourism industry. But those dark days are now in the rearview mirror.
We welcomed over 28 million visitors to the destination, and those visitors spent $13.6 billion in our destination.
But what about us versus them? Them being Los Angeles and San Francisco. Why is San Diego's travel and tourism business recovering faster and stronger than California's two other large metro areas?
Our convention business and our meeting business has come back sooner and faster, but most importantly, our leisure visitors back. We do much better with domestic leisure 365 days a year than San Francisco or Los Angeles does. The other, I would say, is those two destinations are reliant more on the Asian traveler, and that business has not come back to the level that it was pre-pandemic.
Tourism is second only to the military in money generated for the county's economy. Visitors support about 215,000 jobs here. Coker says there's another reason San Diego is a more attractive place to visit than those cities to the north.
We have a lot more authentic, unique experiences, and that's what visitors are looking for, is to live like a local when they come to a destination.
Coker says the Tourism Authority is expecting a very busy summer season, certainly the busiest since before the pandemic.
It's what we've seen in first quarter and what we're looking to forecast for the balance of the year. We definitely expect a busy summer. Our convention center is full throughout the year.
San Diego County, a great place to visit and to live, but then you already knew that. John Carroll, KPBS News.
And the summer travel season is now underway, and this holiday weekend is already breaking air travel records, and that part of the story is coming up. MTS bus operators have been striking for days, demanding better pay and working conditions. Now, MTS leadership is calling for contractor Transdev to make a deal. Union leaders representing bus operators and Transdev resumed negotiations today. MTS Chair Stephen Woodburn urged Transdev to reach an agreement.
As chair, I stand ready to assist in bringing these disruptions to a close, and I am prepared to explore next steps should these service disruptions continue.
We're going to see the company's response in negotiations, see if they're truly trying to remedy. If not, our lines are still up. We have no intentions to bring our strike lines down because it wouldn't be the first time that the company practices surface bargaining techniques.
Transdev released a statement this week that says, in part, we have been engaged in negotiations with the union in good faith with the goal of reaching a mutually satisfactory agreement that addresses the interests of both parties. Meanwhile, there is some good news for North County commuters. Amtrak Pacific Surfliner service is resuming this weekend. Tonight, one train is expected to run to San Diego and resume service in each direction tomorrow. Passenger rail service through San Clemente has been paused since a mudslide last month, and that was only weeks after it reopened following a months-long closure for separate track repairs. 3/4 of San Diego County's elected officials reported receiving politically motivated threats or harassment, and that's according to preliminary results of a local poll. KPBS's Amita Sharma reports the findings also show that more women were targeted than men.
Political violence is on the rise in the United States, and the early results of a poll by local academics show San Diego is not immune. Researchers found 75% of San Diego County politicians, city council members, school trustees, supervisors reported threats and or harassment. 82% were women, 66% men. Moderates were targeted the most, followed by liberals, then conservatives. Mesa College political science professor Carl Luna, who led the poll, described some of the threatening messages.
You get an awful lot of, I wish you would die. You don't get a whole lot of, I'm going to kill you. And until they say, I am going to kill you, it's not criminal.
Elected officials who responded to the poll also reported that threats have increased since they entered office. More than half say they've considered quitting because of the intimidation. Thad Kauser is a UCSD political science professor.
I wonder who we're going to get to replace them, right? Who is going to want to serve in office if this, right, threats against you, threats against your family are part of the cost of running office.
Luna says the end result will be poor representation.
And in the vacuum of that, you get the ideologues and the hacks.
Luna said the full results of the poll will eventually be released to the public next month. Meanwhile, 3 meetings are scheduled over the next several weeks with civil libertarians, local political parties, and law enforcement to explore solutions. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.
A Navy investigation found several failures at the Navy SEAL training campus in Coronado contributed to the death of a trainee last year. The investigation recommended that 10 officials be reviewed for further punishment, which could include criminal charges. KPBS military reporter Andrew Dyer has more.
3 senior Navy officials received reprimands in October after the first investigation into the death of SEAL trainee Seaman Kyle Mullen found poor oversight and performance enhancement drug abuse at the SEAL Training Center in Coronado. Now, a Navy official with knowledge of the issue tells KPBS a second investigation says those 3, along with 7 others, could face further repercussions. The official, who asked their name be withheld because they are not authorized to comment publicly, says Navy lawyers are reviewing the details of the investigation and will make a recommendation if further punishment is warranted.
If the evidence supports that his death could be attributed to the process that was in place not working, then that certainly raises an issue of dereliction of duty on the people whose job it was to either monitor him or to ensure that he was receiving the care that he needed.
Don King is a retired Navy judge and attorney, now in private practice in San Diego. He says that criminal charges aren't out of the question, depending on the evidence in the case.
And it could rise all the way up to, charges such as manslaughter. And I'm not saying that it will, and I'm not saying that it should. I'm saying that it could based upon what I've read about the report.
The 24-year-old Mullen had struggled to complete Hell Week during his training and was seen by others coughing up blood. He refused to quit and get help and died hours after completing it. According to the investigation, medical staff and Navy leadership should have intervened sooner. Navy officials haven't said when the legal review will be complete. Several recommended changes have already been implemented at the school, including more oversight and random PED tests. Andrew Dyer, KPBS News.
The California State University system got a sobering assessment of the way it handles sexual harassment and discrimination complaints. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen says the assessment found that the CSU lacks the resources to tackle those complaints.
Cal State University campuses are supposed to provide a safe and welcoming environment for their students, but in recent years, there have been multiple high-profile sexual assault incidents.
It was evident to us that the issues raised on our campuses demanded a system-wide approach to provide sustainable and meaningful solutions.
Last year, the CSU Board of Trustees ordered a system-wide audit of the Title IX process at all 23 campuses. This week, the board received the preliminary report.
The headline is that there is a lot to do in this space and that there are not currently enough people to do it.
Leslie Gomez is one of the auditors from Cozen O'Connor, the law firm paid to conduct the audit. Besides the lack of resources, she also faulted the sexual assault prevention and education programs. At most campuses, students are only required to complete an online program.
There's a very high rate of response in the online modules, but that response rate isn't going to be sufficient to help us drive culture and climate change.
That's the impression Saskia Lehman got. She's a third-year student at San Diego State University.
People were not paying attention to what was going on there. They were not spending the time to sit there and fully go through the course because it was also very lengthy. They were just kind of skipping through it, trying to answer the questions.
The report also reveals that only a small number of complaints were investigated and most had no formal resolution. SDSU recently announced the investigation of the 3 former Aztec football players for the alleged rape of a teenager in 2021 was no longer active, and the university did not provide any other details.
The whole situation made me feel more unsafe, not just because of the case, but also because of the way that a lot of students were talking about it.
The complete report is expected to be published in June, including individual recommendations for each school. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
The San Diego-Tijuana border region is the World Design Capital of 2024, the first border region to be awarded this honor. The World Design Organization made it official this morning at UC San Diego Park Market. The who's who of design, elected officials, civic and business leaders were there to celebrate and witness the signing of the proclamation. Our region was selected because of the unique and diverse design community that shares a strong commitment to cross-border collaboration.
So, see, this is our superpower here. We have cross-pollination at every level of our life, personal, professional, and civic. The San Diego-Tijuana region is building a dynamic cross-border design community and creative industry despite policy changes, politics, prejudices. I feel incredibly fortunate to be part of these 2 very different cities.
Starting on June 1st, anyone can submit examples of how design can enhance quality of life. The ideas selected will come to life throughout the year at community events. This next story gets to the meaning behind Memorial Day. The Department of Veterans Affairs wants to raise awareness about a final honor for the nation's veterans. Karen Kafer reports from Arlington, Virginia.
Amid the quiet and the solemnity, Arlington National Cemetery is expanding, adding 70 acres to the south of these hallowed grounds, an estimated 80,000 burial sites by late 2027.
The current physical expansion that we're doing right now was the last available land contiguous, in other words, connecting to Arlington National Cemetery. And even to do that expansion, we've had to reconstruct existing roads.
The cemetery, maintained by the U.S. Army but open to veterans of all branches, will be able to accommodate a fraction of the current 23 million active duty service members and veterans.
Without southern expansion, we would close as an active cemetery, which means new burials around 2041. Southern expansion, when complete, will take us to about the mid-2060s.
About 30 miles to the south of Arlington is Quantico National Cemetery. It's one of 155 national cemeteries across the nation maintained by the Department of Veterans Affairs National Cemetery Administration. Matthew Quinn, VA Undersecretary for Memorial Affairs, says the department is working with veterans groups to encourage those who have served to utilize their final benefit.
We are working hard with Arlington National Cemetery and DOD to make sure that there's awareness. So those who maybe are thinking about Arlington, we want to make sure that they know that there's other options as well.
The network also includes 121 state-run cemeteries funded by the VA, and they say about 94% of U.S. veterans have one of these burial sites within 75 miles of home. Still, utilization of VA burial benefits, which include no-cost interment as well as similar benefits for spouses and dependents, is low compared to other VA benefits like health care and education. Last year, just 22%.
That's a number we want to see increase. We want to make sure veterans know that this is an option across America.
So they're working to improve rural access to burial sites and in dense urban areas build above-ground columbariums with a smaller footprint, like this one at Los Angeles National Cemetery. Another will soon open in Queens, New York. All of it a way to say thank you one final time.
The way we look at it is this is the nation's last chance to thank that veteran for their service.
In Arlington, Virginia, I'm Karen Kafa.
Tens of millions of people are already flying and driving to their holiday destinations, but are the nation's airports ready to handle the crush of passengers? Laura Aguirre takes a look.
We are ready.
In Atlanta, home of the world's busiest airport, confidence is high as holiday air travel soars.
This weekend will be a test of the system.
Tested in passenger volume. The Transportation and Safety Administration already at a 3.5-year high for security screenings as of Thursday, over 2.6 million. Friday's final numbers expected to be even higher.
Aircraft 575 on the ground.
Another test, a national shortage of air traffic controllers. Staffing gaps have forced recent delays with some major carriers.
That doesn't just impact those flights, that bleeds over to the whole system for the rest of the day.
United Airlines and others say they've right-sized, hiring more staff to meet service demands and operating fewer flights on larger planes.
More people are going to travel by air this year, we project, than in 2019, which is really notable because airfares are pretty high.
One thing that costs less, gas, by more than $1 a gallon over this time last year. AAA predicts over 37 million people are hitting the highways this weekend, up 2 million since last year. The next big test for travelers, flying home.
A little nervous about coming back on Monday. I think that one might be a bit worse.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I get home without a hitch.
Travel experts say Tuesday and Wednesday are the better times to fly. That's if you can get your boss to sign off on the extra days. I'm Laura Aguirre for KPBS News.
Memorial Day weekend means the return of a popular summertime event, Movies in the Park. The Sweet 16 season of the event kicks off tonight and tomorrow at Waterfront Park. They'll be showing Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and that starts at 6 o'clock. This year's schedule will include themed weekends at dozens of parks around the county, including Juneteenth, Comic-Con, Ladies' Night, and more. For more information, you can visit summermoviesinthepark.com.
Alrighty, let's start you off with your weather headlines. Gray and misty mornings, especially there along the coast. We'll have limited afternoon sunshine for this weekend with a slight weekend warming trend as we move more inland. So for the mountains and the deserts, you're going to be slightly warmer as we head throughout the holiday weekend. Now looking ahead, Metro tonight, we're dropping down to a low of 59. Again, we'll have those low clouds. You may even run into some foggy patches. Take it easy on the roads. And around the rest of the area, Oceanside 57. Even more inland, not as cloudy. Borrego Springs across the deserts and then even across the mountains. Mount Laguna dropping down to a low of 48, Borrego Springs 60. Now I want to show you how this is going to play out, and I promise it's going to look a lot like the same as we head throughout the rest of our Friday evening into Saturday. Those clouds again are going to be hanging on tight right along the coast from LA even down towards San Diego. Now I'm not saying there's not going to be any sunshine, but still limited sunshine during the afternoon. That's going to be the story from Oceanside to San Diego. And then as we head more inland, we'll have those sunny skies, and that's where we're going to be seeing that warm up. 5-day outlook along the coast. Again, low clouds even through the holiday weekend with mostly cloudy skies on tap for Monday. Temperatures, though, staying pretty steady in the upper 60s for our highs. Inland, we're also dealing with those low clouds. Temperatures hovering right around 70 degrees. Now, your 5-day outlook for the mountains, well, Mostly sunny and cold. We're going to be in the 50s throughout the holiday weekend. Clouds and sun, though, at least for the holiday on Monday. It's still going to be a little chilly in the mid-50s, and we're staying there even through Wednesday. And for the deserts, well, we're in the 90s with plenty of sunshine. Then we'll start to cool off slightly Tuesday and Wednesday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Bree Guy.
The California State University system has some of the lowest tuition rates in the country, but that could change. A report out this week revealed a $1.5 billion budget shortfall for the Cal State system. The chancellor's office will present a tuition hike to the board in July, and if approved, prices could rise for nearly 500,000 students as early as this fall. What happens in the next week or so as it relates to the nation's debt ceiling involves the lives and money of thousands of San Diegans. SDSU's Miro Kopik has a local perspective in the Friday Business Report.
This is a major issue for the everyday American. And in San Diego in particular, you're going to see certainly, 15% of the county are people over 65. So 500,000 San Diegans may not get their Social Security checks, may not be able to receive their Medicare benefits. It is a major issue. The military may not receive pay, which cascades into the economy in San Diego. And then organizations, especially nonprofits that receive some of their funding from the federal government will get impacted. And so there's a lot at stake. And at the moment, there's positive words coming out of Washington, but this crisis is somewhat, I'll have to say, is somewhat manufactured. Congress went home last night. And so they're supposed to come back at any point in time here to hopefully take a vote and get us past this. But if not, there's a lot of risk for San Diegans and Americans in general if this thing doesn't get resolved.
I'm Jeff Bennett. Tonight on the NewsHour, we visit both sides of the U.S.-Mexico border to see the effects of changing immigration policies. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
This weekend's Kuumba Fest is a celebration of Black American culture, and it will be the first held in San Diego's newly formed Black Arts and Culture District. KPBS reporter Katie Hyson looked into its significance.
10 children file into the office of Rancho Mission Trails Apartments to rehearse their play for this year's Kuumba Fest.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Seventh grader Dwayne Rue, who plays the Big Brother Panther, explains the plot.
We have to go get the golden rule to open back up our 7-Eleven so we can get our food because somebody has stolen our gratitude.
He says the play taught him African American history he didn't learn in school, like how traders would break the wills of enslaved people so they didn't rebel.
I feel like my teachers, my history teachers, they wouldn't really tell me that. They probably think, oh, he's not going to do anything with that information.
Second grader Langston Coleman plays Dwayne's little brother Panther.
I'm nervous and excited.
The script gets into some pretty high-level themes, but Langston doesn't let hard words stop him.
Unequal justice, psychological.
And he gets help from the older students, like 11th grader Dorcas and Duma.
Do unto others the way you want them to do unto you.
Dorcas has been participating in Kuumba Fest since 5th grade. She says it offered her belonging after she immigrated from East Africa.
And so it's like, oh my gosh, you're my people. I want to be surrounded by you and stuff like that. And so at first it was hard for me because I didn't see that space. But then once I was like, oh my gosh, you guys are actually here. It made me really happy.
The performances even include Swahili, which Dorcas speaks.
It's because we have self-determination.
The children are embracing the motto of the festival, Kujichagulia, self-determination. For years, Kuumba Fest was held downtown. This year, it's moving to the newly formed Black Arts and Culture District, which stretches from 61st to 69th Street on Imperial Avenue, including landmarks like the trolley tracks, Imperial Barber Shop, graffiti gardens, and the Boys and Girls Club. It's the culmination of more than 30 years of advocacy, and it offers the community an antidote to negative portrayals of Black Americans, says Kuumba Fest founder DeHaan Blevins.
When young people leave, when families leave Friday night, the night of positive images, they're not saying, ooh, I'm gonna be Superman, I'm gonna be Batman. When they're playing, they incorporate Imhotep, Shaka Zulu, Nzinga.
And Blevins says the district combats the myth of Southeast San Diego, which was created through redlining and systemic racism.
Instead of saying Encanto, Emerald Hills, Webster, Valencia Park, Skyline, we were relegated to just being Southeast. And the more we were relegated to that, the more the politicians began to believe in that, the more the media, I don't care what community would happen, in the media was saying Southeast San Diego, there was a drive-by.
He's been leading a charge to end that.
We literally did a whole funeral where we had a casket called Southeast and did a funeral service to end that negativity and that negative vibe. And so now we're rebranding.
There are places to celebrate cultures in historic neighborhoods across San Diego, like Little Italy and Chicano Park. Why was an area where Black people lived, as Blevins asks, called the Hood? Blevins says they've been pushing for a Black arts and culture district since the 90s, but the city never approved it until after the movements that followed George Floyd's murder. He sees holding Kuumba Fest in the new district as a way to change the city's relationship with these neighborhoods.
This is something I know. One of the strongest draws that we've had and have is our art, our culture, our music, our dance, our expression. And when we do events that showcases that, everybody comes.
For free this weekend, the entire community is invited to the Black Arts and Culture District to witness concerts, dancing, theater, and the embodiment of decades of Kujichagulia. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.
You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.